Hey everyone, Matt from Emprise Technologies. Starting our first ever recording. It is right now named the Emprise Consulting Corner, but we're probably going to change it, but we wanted to get something recorded to provide some value to everybody that listens and watches. So why not have our first guest be a colleague of mine? His name's Chris Mazur. Some people call him Chris Mazur, but it's really Chris Mazur. So, hey Chris, how's it going?
Hey Matt, it's going all right. A lot of people like to make it French too.
Mazur?
Yeah, not really sure why, but you know, if everyone's ever seen like a Mazda car, I mean, that's how you pronounce the first three letters is with a short A like that. So,
well, maybe if you learn some French, you can get some people excited when you talk to them.
yeah, maybe. Je m'appelle Chris, right? Start with that and go from there.
All right, so what do we think the first topic for today? So Chris is an enterprise solutions consultant. His title, Senior Director at Emprise. So he's involved in a lot of the big client engagements. He works really with every software that the company works with. So I thought it'd be good to get a little bit in the weeds about a topic that's kind of been hot buzzwords over the last couple of years, no-code solutions or no-code platforms. A lot of people have heard about it. Some people look it up and see what it means. Some people just think it's another buzzword, like when big data was a buzzword. So I thought it'd be good to have Chris kind of walk through his experience and answer a few questions and hopefully get people that are thinking about this type of solution, give them more of an understanding of what it is. So with that, Chris, what are no-code platforms, no-code solutions, and I guess what are they doing and how is it different from just regular, having a programmer or software developer?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is that with no-code solutions, like the name implies, you're not writing any code. And the reason that's possible is because the different software providers out there that offer no-code solutions have already built little widgets or codelets that you can string together to build your solutions. When I talk to a lot of people and try to, especially when they're starting off with the no-code stuff, I like to use the metaphor of Legos, right? When you're a kid and you're building Legos, you don't have to worry about how the blocks are built. You could have a little 4-block or 8-block or whatever they are. You don't care. You just put them together and you build your creation. Well, no-code solutions are a lot like that. You got a big bucket of Legos and you can build anything you want and you can build it quickly. You can also tear it apart quickly and rebuild, which, kind of leads into the rapid prototyping and some of those pieces.
Okay. So going, I guess a little step deeper, why would a company want to implement this? I guess what efficiencies or return on investment do they have?
Sure. I think the biggest piece is that, a lot of the folks that we work with are roadblocked or bottlenecked by their IT organizations. And with no code platforms, a lot of them being workflow based or rules engine based, the people that understand those processes and rules are actually in the operation, right? They're on the business side. And by introducing a low code or no code platform, what you're actually able to do is empower those users to maintain and update those solutions as the business changes. So, in terms of return on investment, a lot of the projects we do where we're writing the code, they're often several months long. And the business changes over those months, right? The business rules change. There's new compliance, there's new regulations. Maybe there's a new strategy. They've hired a new COO and they want to go this other path. Well, all the coding that's been done over the last 3 or 6 months is probably moot because the rules have changed. The game has changed. And so the return on investment is the ability to, get a solution stood up to where it's delivered to the organization or the operation, and empower them to maintain and stitch those business rules together.
Okay, so I understand it since I'm less technical. So it kind of not fully eliminates, but you don't need to have a full development team, bunch of programmers. It's someone that probably needs to understand the business, but also understand technology and maybe how programming works, but they don't need to be a developer. Is that kind of?
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the misinterpretations when you hear no code is, okay, I don't need a development team. And I don't know that that's completely accurate. A lot of the platforms that we work with and the tools we use, the designers are really easy to learn and understand. And if you've got a BA type person, sure, they could go in and stitch some flows or business rules together. But the gap that we find there in some of the customers that we've worked with who use no-code solutions, who have just taken that approach, the holes in their solutions are because they don't fundamentally understand what's going on behind the scenes. They don't have a great understanding of maybe object-oriented programming, or maybe how the database is tied together, or how they're going to persist data from one flow to another. So often what we find is that the most successful people at implementing a no-code solution will have somebody who can design the solution, who has a software background, understands how to stitch these pieces together, and then builds them in the no-code solution in a way that is maintainable and extensible by the operation. So at the point it's delivered, maybe the rules have changed. You don't want to tie up your dev team or your IT team with stitching business rules together and putting band-aids in your code. At that point, you want to say, hey, no, business user, go update this rule or go update this flow. And at that point, the end user, a business analyst, someone on the ops side, I think we've been using the term technologist, right? Kind of a hybrid of a developer and a BA. At that point, that person can take the solution and modify it and let it change and evolve with the business. But you still got to have that team up front who can, really appreciate, the saying, the whole forest from the one tree in front of them. That's the big difference.
Okay, so there's definitely sounds like probably a decent size implementation up front, right? Because you have your current platform that's running on whether it's hidden business rules or workflow, but you also want to build those rules and the workflow in this no-code environment. And then after it's gone through its testing and iterations and all that development life cycle, I guess, per se, once you're live, it's probably way less effort to go update the rules, like you're saying, or have a clear picture of what is actually happening, opposed to hidden code or hidden rules in the background.
Yeah, I think that's mostly accurate. I think it really depends, just like everything, on the situation or the solution that you're implementing as well. I mean, if you're implementing a tightly integrated solution that maybe interacts with a dialer and your system of record and a texting solution and a web portal, yeah, there's a lot of integration, and integration's hard, right? And making sure we connect all the dots is hard, and those types of solutions that have a lot of integration or a lot of depth to them probably need that solution architect type role, someone who understands everything that's going on. We have a lot of other clients though who are using no code for their back office, operations, approval workflows or eligibility type workflows. The neat thing with no code is you can build those types of flows very fast. Okay. And you can prototype them very fast. And a lot of them are, they're replacing an email inbox or handing paper from one person to the next person. Those flows, I think a BA can build those. I don't know that you got to have a lot of insight into all the integration points and data types and data structures and all those things, because now we're talking about business process management, right? And so it just depends on the situation and what you're implementing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think automation processes that kind of always sparks it in my mind. If you can take it out of a person, whether it's because it goes through 4 different people and there's a possibility for error, or you didn't hire this person to do these 7 checks. It just happened to now this is what their job is. So why not automate it and deploy them to do what you hired them for, opposed to doing some manual work where there's definitely a case for error. Or you could also have, take 90% of the manual work away, have a no-code platform perform it, and then that person can just be maybe that final check and balance, opposed to spending 8 hours a day doing something. They're spending 30 minutes verifying everything's correct.
Well, I think the same holds true on the tech side too, right? So you didn't hire your developers to just write business rules, right? You hire your developers to be innovative and to push the business forward and to grow your organization from a technology perspective. So tying up, several FTEs worth of people just, oh, hey, this needs to now do this rule or consider this condition. There's not a big return on investment there, and that's traditionally how IT shops have worked, right? Because no one on the business side can make those changes. In a no-code or low-code environment, they can.
Okay. So thinking maybe a little storytelling, maybe not the smallest or easiest, project, and not the most complex. Do you have a good story project you can share? Just maybe give the people watching and listening of, okay, we've talked about it. It kind of makes sense, but let's put it into action. Can you maybe talk through?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, without trying to get too specific, I think, a really simple example to talk through is we've worked with an organization who's got a web portal. And what they realize is they want to use this web portal for self-help, let people self-cure their own debt and do those sorts of things. And what they didn't have in their portal was a way to negotiate with the consumer. So, we used a rules engine. We said, hey, you need a rules engine on the back end of this. And although we could code these business rules out, let's put a no-code solution in place to where you may want to run separate, different offerings or special offerings to where, based on certain thresholds or data points, you want certain offers to be available to the person to settle their debt. And so in that case, what we did was we plugged in a no-code solution to act as the brain for the web portal, and the web portal just consumed the output from the rules engine. And the nice thing with these rules engines or no-code solutions is they're all available with API integration. It's all real time, right? So from a tech perspective, we just had to build the mechanism to say, hey, the web portal wants to know, based on these 5 data points, what they should tell the consumer they're able to settle their debt for. And on the flip side, I think the solution's been in production now a little over a year, maybe even a little bit more than that. We've not had to touch the code, right, in the no-code environment, but the business is continually going in and saying, hey, for this client, these are our rules. And they're able to go in and maintain that decision table or truth table to say, okay, this is how I want to evaluate and present to the end user.
Okay, and web portal, just for people that might not know, depending who's listening, it's kind of like almost like a My Account, or you go to your cell phone or go to your provider and you log in to a website and it's got your information in there, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, think about if you're logging into your Verizon bill, right, and you need to go pay it off. That's what we're talking about from a web portal and self-help.
Well, that seems too. I'm just thinking through that, and just that alone, with obviously all the stuff with COVID and different laws passed by different states, there's probably some pretty big changes that you would have to make based on maybe a state someone's in, if we're working in the healthcare or if you're working in the financial services or whatever it may be. So that's probably a lot easier for a BA or operations to go in and update it there, opposed to adding it to a programmer's checklist to go make a change.
For sure. Yeah, another example, and it's funny you bring it up, COVID and everything going on this year. I mean, that's, in some cases, some of the folks we worked with, they didn't want to be as persistent in terms of trying to collect, or maybe their client said, hey, maybe like out in the West in the wildfires and stuff, there's hardship going on. We don't want to pursue these people. In the old world, that's a code change.
Right.
You got to go implement a rule that says, hey, if this person lives in these zip codes, don't contact them. Right. And what we were able to do for another client is say, no, let's put a rule there that says, should I contact this person? Yes or no? Right. And as you want to toggle that on and off, it's no longer a code change. It's a rule change, and a rule change can be done by someone, trained on the no code platform.
Right. Okay. No, that makes sense. Anything else? I want to get into some fun questions. Anything else on the no code solutions platforms that you want to, talk about?
Not right off the top.
Okay.
For me, I've been working with them now, I think 2 years or so. And it's been pretty wild. Just thinking about where we've come from a technology perspective, and my kids are in school and they're doing remote learning and everything's virtual now, right? And when your kid walks up at 8 years old and says, "Oh, Dad, are you working on your algorithm?" and you're sitting there in your no code platform designing a flow, they're already thinking in that bit, and I think that just really speaks to where the technology is going, where IT is going. It really speaks to, hey, why are we reinventing the wheel over and over and over again? Versus a no-code platform that lets you use the wheels that someone else has built for you.
Right. No, that's what I was thinking. My kids aren't old enough yet to do taking those classes, but I could see that being, I don't even know what's taught in schools right now, but I could see it being more that those steps, the no code kind of area where the steps is the code in the background. They don't really need to know what it is, but this is how I build it.
For sure.
So since you're the guest, I just realized that we are so excited to jump into this that why don't you do a 10-15 second elevator pitch on who Emprise is, just in case people don't know.
Yeah, that's good. So what is my 10 or 15 second elevator pitch? Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. I think at a very high level, we're a data integration company and a business process company. We often don't develop products. So what we like to do is we like to go in and understand what's the problem, why is it a problem, and then design a solution around it, irregardless of the tech stack, or if technology is even needed. It could be a conversation about business process and change management, or it could be, okay, well, you've got these systems, let's connect them together and streamline the process a little bit. So that was more than 10 seconds, but I would say we're an integration company with a passion for problem solving and automation.
Okay, no, that works. And I think the other thing, like, I'll throw in is kind of my side of the table is we're big on relationships. So if we can provide you value with these, or provide clients value, we'll have some more guests that'll probably be clients and just people that want to get involved. But goal is to provide value, and if we provide value, great. If we can't and everyone has under control, then awesome too. We're big on value, and relationships is the key for us, at least. All right, so nostalgia is pretty big right now. Are you doing anything, collecting anything that maybe you did in your childhood that you stopped, or anything that you're still doing that you did in your childhood?
Actually, I'm not a collector. What am I doing? I'm trying to be outside as much as possible.
Yeah, because you're a hunter. Did you do that when you were a kid, or did you just get into it?
No, I did. Okay. My family's been into it since I can remember. I remember going and sitting in the woods with my grandpa and freezing when I was, 6, 7 years old, and that was just the way it was. Here's a blanket.
Right.
It's warm.
Right. No, I asked that because my parents cleaned out their house and gave me all my stuff when I was a kid. So you can see the Barry Sanders picture in the back has got the little pinholes in the corner from when I hung it in my room as a kid, and I have a bunch that I'm gonna start hanging up. But it's something, it's kind of fun now that working from home without COVID. It's like, I want to show a little bit more of who I like, and it's always a good conversation starter, whether it's good or bad, for people asking, who is that back there?
Yeah, I think that's been the challenge for me. I mean, up until this past March, it was travel, right? And travel, we're seeing clients, we're on the road, or if I'm not on the road, I'm working with the team in the office. So trying to think of how to set up my space here at home has been a little bit of a challenge, with all the kids and all the crazy going on here. So I'm sure that hopefully over time my background changes a little bit. But
it looks like you have a clean slate to start with. So you.
So the thought is, right, working with the guys, we always whiteboard, right? So the thought is, hey, let's put a giant whiteboard up, but that's not, it's not fun to look at. So.
Right. All right, last question I have. So what's your daily wardrobe?
Oh, that's not fair. It depends on the day. It's usually sweats and a t-shirt,
Yeah, that's mine.
When we were in the office, it was jeans and a t-shirt. I heard a lot of people say dress for success. I just want to work with people that want to solve problems and get, solutions in place. So
dress for comfort.
For sure.
Now, when we start traveling again, I probably won't be wearing my sweats, but we'll see what's acceptable these days.
Hey, it could be the new normal.
That'd be great.
I'll call you Captain.
Well, thanks. Any parting words?
No, I don't. Just, thanks for everyone tuning in. Hope you guys have a happy holiday season. Spend some time with family.
All right.
Well, some time off, hopefully.
Yeah, no. Sorry for cutting you off. Phil, thanks. If anyone has any questions, you want to be a part of the show, any more information, I'll put all the show notes in the description of the video on our YouTube channel. You can email me at matt@emprise1 or hit me up on LinkedIn. But plan to do a lot more of these with different people, not just employees, but clients and other people that like to provide value. That's the goal, is to provide some value to everyone else. So thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.